welcome to my digital art school. My name is Bonnell and I'm an artist and designer. And today we are going to be making paints and inks out of things that you probably could find in your kitchen. So they're all completely sustainable materials that actually you could eat the paints if you want. I wouldn't recommend, they don't taste very nice. But we're going to be using a technique to make egg tempera paint, which is using eggs, which make the paint really stretchy, and that is a technique that's been used to make paint since like the Middle Ages, what Leonardo da Vinci used to make paint. So now you'll know how to do them today. We have 4 different colors, which all come from a couple different things. This blue one is Spirulina, and this green one is also Spirulina, but they're different varieties, which actually is algae from ponds. If you see like those blue smoothies in Tesco or Sainsbury's, this is what is used to make them those colors. It's really good for you. Lots of electrolytes and energy. And then there is turmeric, which makes a nice yellow. And then this is beetroot powder, which is just beetroots that are dried, dehydrated, and then ground up into a powder. And so, materials that you will need: a couple paintbrushes, any kind is fine, any that you have lying around the house, a couple different size spoons, a teaspoon and then maybe a more soup-sized spoon. A palette mixer is what I have, but also you can also use either of the spoons if you don't have those. And then a rubber roller to stretch out the paint. Again, you can use a spoon for that if you don't have it. And then some eggs. The fresher that you buy them, the easier it will be to make the paint. I got these this morning. A little kind of palette, which I have a couple different versions. These are kind of paper tear-off ones, or a sheet of clear plastic. Basically anything that is a flat surface that you can use to kind of roll out and stretch the paint will work totally fine. And you'll need some tap water, any kind of paper towel, blue roll, anything to clean up any mess you might make. And then 2 containers. These kind of takeaway Tupperware containers work really well. One, because you're going to be dividing an egg yolk, so 1 for the yolk and 1 for the white. So with a lid, ideally. And then a couple pieces of paper. Any paper that you have around will work totally fine. I've taped off the edges on these just because it helps. I think you get a nice clean edge, and it really cleans everything up really nicely. And if you have all of those things, you are ready to go. So let's get started. I think I'm gonna make the blue paint because everything around me is blue. So you're gonna take your smaller spoon, and it's a little bit like you are making pasta. So take a spoonful, maybe 1.5. And then you're going to want to use either your spoon or your palette and make a little volcano with a kind of hole in the middle where you would usually put an egg if you were making pasta, but today it's going to be water. And so take about, let's say a spoonful of water and pour it into the middle as you can. And then using this, mix it slowly until it all comes together into a paste. This spirulina you can get in any kind of health food store, or you can order online. And when you're using it, you will really know that it is a natural material because it smells a little bit like a swamp. But you can already see that just mixing it up with water, the blue starts to come out so bright and vibrant. This part takes a little bit of time, so be patient with it. So this is when you're going to need your 2 containers. Take the lids off. Then have some paper towel ready. So what you're doing is, this is a nice kind of liquid paste to start, but what you need is something to make the paint really stretchy and elastic so that you can either do printmaking or more materials with it. So what you need to do is separate the yolk and the white. So I'm going to lightly crack the egg. If this doesn't work the first time you try it, that's totally fine. I've done it many times, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So be patient with yourself. We're gonna... Whoa, that yolk is massive. Okay, I'm going to be extra careful this time. And so what you're going to do now is you need to dry off the yolk, which sounds like a strange thing to do. You may have never done before today. And so you just kind of dump onto your paper towel and then kind of slowly tilt it back and forth. These eggs come in like naturally, like a little sack per se. And so you're actually gonna pick the yolk up and then try and kind of hang it until that bursts, and then the liquid from the yolk will fall into this container, and then you can put the rest in this container. Again, if this doesn't work the first time you do it, it's okay. It is not the easiest thing in the world to do, but is all part of the process. So let's see if it works. Ooh, it went so quick. So that, you can kind of squeeze anything else out. This is the little sack that can go in there. Wipe your hands off, and then as quick as possible, I would put a lid on this container because the yolk dries out really quickly, so you want to protect that. This you can put to one side. If you're good at baking, you can make meringues. I am not very good at baking. So, okay, done with your eggs. Now what you're going to do, we're coming back to our paint. That also, as we were doing this, has a little bit of time to thicken up. And then take a tiny spoon and about half a teaspoon, I would say, and drop it in. Cover that up again, and then mix until it's really kind of smooth and silky. Because this is what makes the paint elastic and stretchy. So really take your time with it. This actually has come together really well, really quickly. Use the last of that off of the spoon. And once it is looking nice and glossy, kind of, I would say, sort of like the texture of Marmite, you're ready to roll out. And this is to, so if you want to use it for printmaking or monoprinting, this is to spread the paint out thicker. And I can tell that this is right by the sound, which hopefully you should be able to hear. Like it's sticking a little bit, and that is because the stretchy thing is doing exactly what it is supposed to be doing. So you just roll this out, and then you can use this for anything really. You can use it for block printing, you can use it for monoprinting. I'm just going to do something really quick. On your sheet or your palette, you can kind of draw into the ink and paint that you've just made. Just like this. Any kind of different shapes. I'm just using the back of a paintbrush. You can use your finger if you're feeling inspired. This is sort of a flower maybe. And then once you have a design that you're happy with, you take your piece of paper. Take your piece of paper and you can stick it face side down. Use your spoon. Rub the back. In kind of small circles so all the corners are done. Makes a really nice sound. And then most of the designs that come up, and you get this really, really beautiful blue. And then you get to peel off, the best part is peeling off the tape, and you get to see the nice clean edge. If you wanted, now that you've made this paint, you can also scoop it up into like a palette like this, and just use a little bit of water to water it down slightly. And then it becomes more of like a kind of watercolor paint that still has all like the nice properties because of the egg. I can show you just on the back of this. This is the nice, and it's such a bright blue. You can't believe that it's just all natural materials that you would find in a pond. And yeah, taking these materials, you can use them to make paints, you can make them to use dyes. These are made using the same pigments, but just in different processes to turn them into dyes. And when you're done with them, they will completely go back naturally into the earth and nothing bad will happen to them. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned a little bit. Best of luck. Hope it works. Good luck with your eggs. Bye.